The Universal House of Justice, a unique institution. Article from thebaha'i.org. The Universal House of Justice is unique in religious history. Never before has a manifestation of God explicitly ordained the establishment of an institution with the mandate to maintain the integrity and flexibility of his religion, safeguard the unity and guide the activities of his followers, and exert a beneficial influence on the life of society. By virtue of the authority invested in it by Baha'u'llah, the Universal House of Justice sits as the head of an administrative order whose features, authority, and mode of functioning are clearly enunciated in the sacred writings. The work of the institutions of this administrative order is characterized by an ethos of loving service focused on the development of human potential and the advancement of civilization. Powers and duties. The elected members of the Universal House of Justice are described in the Baha'i sacred writings as the trustees of God among his servants and the daysprings of authority in his countries. As the men of justice, the deputies of God, the trustees of the All-Merciful, they must be shepherds unto his sheep, protecting and preserving the unity and well-being of Baha'u'llah's followers, as well as manifestations of the fear of God and daysprings of knowledge and understanding, steadfast in God's faith, and the well-wishers of all mankind. The Universal House of Justice is charged with the affairs of the people. It must apply the Baha'i teachings to the training of peoples, the upbuilding of nations, the protection of man, and the safeguarding of his honor. It must have the utmost regard for the interests of the people at all times and under all conditions, and ensure the protection and safeguarding of all humanity. The promotion of peace in the world is also among the responsibilities of the Universal House of Justice, so that the people of the earth may be relieved from the burden of exorbitant expenditures. Its members must additionally endeavor to the utmost of their power to safeguard the position of religion, promote its interests, and exalt its station in the eyes of the world. Since change is a necessary quality and an essential attribute of this world and of time and place, Baha'u'llah has invested the members of the Universal House of Justice with the authority to consider matters that he did not specifically deal with in his own writings and enforce that which is agreeable to them. Inasmuch as for each day there is a new problem, and for every problem an expedient solution, wrote Baha'u'llah, such affairs should be referred to the ministers of the House of Justice, that they may act according to the needs and requirements of the time. The Baha'i sacred writings give the guarantee that the Universal House of Justice will take decisions and establish laws through the inspiration and confirmation of the Holy Spirit. For Baha'is, obedience to its decisions is a bounden and essential duty and an absolute obligation. Origins. The institution of the Universal House of Justice was ordained by Baha'u'llah in his most holy book, the Kitab-i-Aqdas. Its responsibilities were also expanded upon in a number of his other writings. Abdu'l-Baha confirmed the authority of the Universal House of Justice in his will and testament, and provided specific details regarding its establishment and functioning. In the early years of the 20th century, during a period when his life was in particular danger, Abdu'l-Baha took measures to arrange for the election of the Universal House of Justice should something happen to him. This precaution did not turn out to be necessary. After Baha'u'llah's passing, Shoghi Effendi, the guardian of the Baha'i faith, placed the greatest importance on the establishment of the Universal House of Justice. He devoted more than 3 decades to preparing the Baha'i world community for its election, repeatedly looking ahead to that auspicious occasion in glowing terms. It was first necessary, however, to raise up and strengthen the global network of local and national Baha'i assemblies to provide a strong basis for such an entity. Every new national spiritual assembly that was formed became one more pillar to share in sustaining the weight and in broadening the foundation of the Universal House of Justice. In 1951, Shoghi Effendi appointed a number of individuals to an international Baha'i Council, a forerunner to the Universal House of Justice. In 1961, this appointed council was reformed as a body elected by all the national and regional assemblies then established in the world. After Shoghi Effendi's sudden passing in 1957, his work was faithfully carried on by the group of distinguished Baha'is he had appointed as hands of the cause of God. These individuals arranged for the first election of the Universal House of Justice. In April 1963, the centenary of the public declaration of Baha'u'llah, the Universal House of Justice was elected by all 56 national spiritual assemblies that were by then established in the world. The International Baha'i Council ceased to exist with the election of the Universal House of Justice. The coming into being of the Universal House of Justice was a tremendously significant event. After more than a century of expansion and consolidation, and through a democratic global electoral process, the Baha'is of the world were able to bring into existence the permanent international institution ordained by Baha'u'llah to guide its affairs. Since its formation, the Universal House of Justice has devoted more than half a century to building and consolidating a Baha'i community which has the resources and capabilities to participate in the establishment of the global civilization envisaged by Baha'u'llah through a process of applying his teachings to the betterment of the world. To support it in its work, the Universal House of Justice has furthermore created a number of appointed institutions. Among these are the Continental Board of Counselors and the International Teaching Center. As stipulated by Baha'u'llah, the seat of the Universal House of Justice is located on Mount Carmel in the Holy Land, in close proximity to the Shrine of the Bab. Electoral process. The Universal House of Justice is elected through a 3-stage process. In every national Baha'i community, all adult Baha'is in good standing, 18 years of age or older, are eligible to take part in elections at the grassroots level, known as unit conventions, held once a year throughout their country. At these conventions, the Baha'is vote by secret ballot for delegates who are duly responsible to elect the 9 persons to serve on the National Spiritual Assembly for the term of 1 administrative year. The National Spiritual Assembly is then elected at the National Convention. The members of all National Spiritual Assemblies elect, in turn, the 9 members to serve on the Universal House of Justice. The election of the Universal House of Justice is conducted once every 5 years at the International Baha'i Convention. Of several days' duration, the convention is held at the World Center of the Baha'i Faith in Haifa, Israel, where the members of the National Spiritual Assemblies are able to visit the holy shrines in preparation for the duty they are called upon to discharge. Foremost in their minds as they cast their ballots are passages from the Baha'i writings which describe those whom they choose to serve on such an august body, as daysprings of knowledge and understanding, steadfast in God's faith, and the well-wishers of all mankind. In common with the procedure of electing all Baha'i institutions, the election of the Universal House of Justice is devoid of any system of nomination, electioneering, canvassing, or propaganda.